In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on April the 8th, 2016, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise to the salute to the flag, and I'd ask our Cub Scouts and our Eagle Scouts to please come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
All Scouts and citizens, face the flag. Scouts salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, guys. We'll call you up in a few seconds. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Plumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes of both the regular and closed session from March 21st?
So moved. Second.
Any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with all in favor.
Okay, we're going to hold off on the report of the governing body members. Let's do the first two resolutions so that we can do a presentation. So, Barbara, would you call out resolution number 1?
Honoring Cub Scouts of Pack 79, Brendan Burns, Owen Bishop, Matthew Del Grande, Aiden Faust, Ryan McBride, Aiden O'Kane, Mark Threet, and Noah Wurtzberger on attaining the Hour of Light Award.
Move the resolution. Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
All right, do the second resolution, then we'll start calling everyone up. So,
Honoring Stephen William Jefferson on attaining the designation of Eagle Scout.
Move the resolution. Second.
call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
He's not here, though. Right.
Stephen William Jefferson. That's the Eagle Scout.
Okay. So tonight we're honored to give recognition to Stephen William Jefferson. We're going to call him up first, mainly because he obtained really the highest honor that you can obtain through Cub Scouts and then through Boy Scouts, and that is that of the designation of Eagle Scout. We all know that our Eagle Scout candidates, not just Stephen, have done a tremendous job in putting together a lot of projects that really benefit the township. And so I'll read the resolution recognizing Stephen. I'll ask them to come up. Certainly we can have some photographs and stuff afterwards. But Stephen, I'd like to read this resolution in your honor. Whereas Stephen William Jefferson of Troop 79, Seaville, New Jersey, has recently achieved the designation of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America, that the Township of Upper wishes to acknowledge this outstanding accomplishment. The Township Committee of the Township of Upper in Cape May County, State of New Jersey, as follows. Resolved that the Township Committee extends its sincere congratulations to Stephen on the occasion of his receiving the designation of Eagle Scout and commends him for his outstanding accomplishment and completion of his Eagle Scout project, consisting of building and maintaining a vegetable garden at the Seaville United Methodist Church and donating all the fresh produce from the garden to the local food bank. And therefore be it resolved that the Township Committee extends its sincere congratulations and best wishes to Stephen's parents, family, and friends on this happy occasion, and that the township also extends congratulations and appreciation to the Scoutmasters and others who give so freely and generously of their time for the benefit of our youth. So, Stephen, if you would come up, I would certainly think we need a round of applause. You know, they say that a lot of the Eagle Scouts may one day be elected officials, so one day you may also be standing up. Actually, aim higher. Go for president. We have some. We don't have too good of candidates right now, so I'm hoping you'll go a lot further than this. Congratulations. That's a great. You pursuing more in Boy Scouts, or that's terrific. It's a great thing to put on your resume, and hopefully you'll take this throughout a lot of things that you do in the future. And congratulations. Thank you. Good job.
Good job. Good job. Well done.
Next, we're going to honor the Cub Scouts of Pack 79 for obtaining, it's not the Hour of Light, is it?
Yes.
Hour of
Yes.
Light.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's when they cross the bridge
Yes.
from Weeblos, and they'll be heading into,
They're in scouting.
okay, which is a big accomplishment as well. So I'll read the resolution, and it says, whereas the Scouts of Cub Scout Pack 79, Brendan Burns, Owen Bishop, Matthew Delgrand, Aiden Faust, Ryan McBride, Aiden O'Kane, Mark Threed, Noah Wurtzberger have recently achieved the Hour of Light Award, which is the highest level of advancement for a Cub Scout. The Township of Upper wishes to acknowledge this outstanding accomplishment. Township Committee extends its sincere congratulations to these graduating Cub Scouts on the occasion of their receiving the Hour of Light Award and commends them for their outstanding accomplishment. Be it further resolved that the Township Committee extends its congratulations and best wishes to their parents, family, and friends on this happy occasion, and that the Township also extends its congratulations and appreciation to the Den leaders, Lisa McBride and Jason Werksberger, and others who give so freely and generously of their time for the benefit of our youth. So I would ask the Cub Scouts, and if the leaders are here, to also come up so we can have a nice picture. And again, a round of applause. Might get stuck behind the chairs. Brendan? Aiden?
Okay.
Ryan McBride? Matthew?
Matthew's not here.
Aiden Faust? Owen Bishop? Okay.
And these are for the scouting.
All right, guys, so we're going to line up so we get a picture and get you guys in the paper. And I'm hoping that all of you follow in the footsteps of the previous presentation and also get Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts too.
I challenged them to do that
Very good.
after a meeting and their crossover. I made a mistake though. I told them 10 years and I would be back to see them all Eagle Scouts, and it's really 8 years, so you gotta rush, guys. You gotta rush.
You know, and it's a great job that you guys did it. You stuck with it, and now it's time to move on to Boy Scouts and stick with that as well. You won't ever regret it. All right? I know you. I know you are. So, you're welcome to stay if you want, but, you know, I know it's a school night, so, Stephen and all the Cub Scouts are welcome to leave as well and to go home and get your homework done. In the meantime, you know what, let's go back to the report of the governing bodies, and we'll pick up at 3 when we have another Eagle Scout that we'll put together for a resolution. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
There's my grandson just showed up, Matthew.
Somebody's got a cough.
The entire left side just cleared out. All right, Barbara, do you have anything for us this evening?
I just have one thing to report on. I received an application from RC Holdings of the BL England Generating Station, requested approval to use the facility here at the municipal building to hold an air permit public hearing for the BL England's repowering project. And this application complies with our requirements, falls within the parameters of what can be approved by my office. And as long as there are no objections to that, then I'm going to go ahead and grant approval for use of the facility for them to hold the hearing here at the municipal building. And they're looking to hold the hearing here on May 10th at 5 p.m., 5 to 11 p.m.
Okay.
And that's all I have. That's all I have
Right.
this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel?
Nothing at this time, but we do have contract negotiation, litigation, and personnel matters for closed session.
Okay. Paul?
Good evening. I have a couple things. First, we received a notification from the Department of Agriculture regarding the gypsy moth spraying. They received the bids for the overall program at a cost of $51.05 per acre. We have 88 acres to spray. That's underneath of what we have budgeted in the upcoming budget. So pending the approval and adoption of the budget, we'd just like authorization to be able to send this bid acceptance form back so that we can continue on with the gypsy moth spraying program.
Now, there has been a resident that has come forward and said that this a section that he was at experienced a lot of gypsy moths last year. So is there any way that we can ask them to come back and survey that particular area?
I can talk with the person in charge and see if he had surveyed that area specifically. Typically, sometimes, you know, residents maybe aren't aware of gypsy moths and stuff like that, but I can have him check his notes for that area.
It's the Crestview section. So
I can
I would
check.
suggest that we do that before we go ahead and finalize the exact amount of contract.
I don't think we couldn't add them to the spray block at this time because of the notification processes that have already started the process.
Well, you know, I don't want to come into the same situation that we had several years ago. So if there's a particular area that may be vested, is there any way that we can find somebody outside that might be able to tell us what to expect?
Yes, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'll meet with him and have him go check his notes, go out and take a look at the property. And, you know, there are other methods, you know, since we do, you know, this dollar amount is less, maybe we can look at doing a ground spraying program, you know, which if this isn't a large area, a ground spraying program might be able to be worked and doesn't need the notification processes that the aerial process requires.
Okay, I would ask that you would do that then.
If you could just give me
I'll give you the address.
information, and I'll follow up with him for sure this week. So we do, I mean, we need a motion to go ahead and do this, and we'll follow it up with a resolution at the next meeting.
Someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
The next item, through the county recycling coordinator, we received some information that the Assembly has proposed Bill A2281. I gave you a paper on that at the beginning of the meeting, and what the bill is called is a Smart Container Act, and it's essentially a bottle deposit bill, where, you know, like in other states where you'd buy a can of soda, water, or any other type of bottled beverage, you'd pay the retailer a deposit for that, and then, you know, upon returning the empty bottle to an acceptable location, you would get your deposit back. What the bill doesn't kind of cover is, you know, we have a very successful recycling program here in the township, and it doesn't account for that loss of recycling percentage and tonnage that we would, you know, lose, and also it would affect our recycling rebate that we get based on that recycling tonnage every year. So, you know, so there are some losses that would come to the township, and that I think the bill's sponsor doesn't kind of quite anticipate some of the impacts to local municipalities. You know, it does give a summary of some of the other things, but I'd like to, you know, ask that we put on the next resolution at the next meeting, a resolution to you know, just point out some of the shortcomings of this bill and get it up to both our legislators, but also the sponsors of the bill.
And that's fine, but let's, in the meantime, because do we have any idea when this might come out of committee, or is it in committee? Where's it at?
It just entered committee. I think it was.
Because
last
I'm
week.
thinking that, you know,
I mean,
a letter before our resolution come, and we can put in the letter that a resolution will be forthcoming, you know, to oppose this bill. It's interesting because one of the towns, they said, invested, you know, a substantial amount of money in single-stream automated trucks, and kind of thinking that we fit in that category.
Absolutely.
so I think when the county recycling coordinator wrote that, she was paraphrasing our
Right.
budgetary expenditures.
And beyond that, we get hosting fees because the municipal landfill was partly in Upper Township.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, there's certainly a lot of communities that are falling short on recycling, and we're not doing that. We're ahead of the boat. We've had our metrics are, you know, way ahead of most towns throughout New Jersey, for that matter. So, I would suggest, maybe I can work with you, Daniel. We could draft a letter, and then we also can draft a resolution for the next meeting.
I think the county has a sample letter. I'll get that over to Dan and yourself, and, you know, to utilize as a format.
I concur.
That just
But do you need a
highlights-
motion to put a resolution on the next agenda?
At least a motion for forwarding the letter, because that's going to happen before the next meeting, and then we'll put the resolution on the agenda. If that motion's successful, obviously.
So moved.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Then the last item, again, I put some literature in front of you at your desk this evening. It's a copy of a resolution done by the Borough of Longport regarding reusable bags, and just encouraging the Upper Township Business Association, in conjunction with the Green Team, during the month of April, as part of Earth Day month, we'll call it, instead of just Earth Day. It was kind of out promoting the use of reusable bags instead of using single-use type bags. And this resolution just kind of highlights the need and the encouragement of that. And we would ask that the town committee adopt a similar type resolution, just encouraging the use of reusable bags as part of Earth Day this year.
So this would not be an ordinance to mandate, this would be in support of thinking about it.
Correct. Encouraging the use of it and just raising the awareness of using reusable bags. I think the Business Association has been out at least twice handing out free reusable bags at ShopRite and Acme over the last 2 weekends as part of it, as an effort with the Business Association to encourage that practice.
Okay, I'll move to support that resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. That's all I had for this evening.
Okay. Barbara.
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Coggins.
Nothing to report this evening, Mayor.
There we go. Mr. Young.
A few things. I did have a request, the new well we put in down at the train station, it needs to be backfilled around the well itself. I guess it's settling in pretty good right now.
It's already been done.
All right, okay. I just was made aware of it this morning, so. The Special Events Committee will be holding 4th of July meetings coming up, starting May 24th. I'm sorry, April 26th, May 24th, and June 28th. They'll be for all people who want to participate in it, all vendors. We are going to require that any vendor that's going to participate in it this year will have to attend at least one meeting. And they will be at 7 o'clock. And if everything goes right, we'll be having them here in this room or in the conference room. Hopefully we'll make 4th of July a lot bigger than what it was last year, and add some more games for the kids and make more of a full day of it. Amanda's Field, Paul didn't report on, so I will. We got the main roadways all paved on Friday. The 4th baseball field has been fine graded and seeded. First T-ball field is in with the infield mix, and most of the fencing is completed. And then the only other thing I have is, hopefully a lot of people have seen the flyers and the posting on all the different sites for Love for Sadie. We're going to have a benefit game. The South Jersey Storm will be hosting the Tri-County Owls at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And it's an SMA awareness game. And if you're aware of what SMA is, but that's spinal muscular atrophy. It's a form of MS. Sadie Newsom is a 2-year-old little girl. Her parents grew up here. And she is probably the happiest kid I've ever seen in my life, but she has no use from her waist down. And she just spent 5 to 6 weeks in CHOP with mucus, and since she can't walk, it's hard to get the mucus broke out, so she was on respirators and everything else. Her family is starting to incur quite a cost going back and forth. So in conjunction with my football team, the parents and friends of Sadie, as well as the Labaris, we're doing it. They get an awareness game again, 1 o'clock, and it's followed by a fundraiser at Lavari's Bar and Grill from 4 to 8. That's $20 a head. We hope to see as many people out there as we can to support this little girl. And like I said, when you get a chance to meet her, I've never seen a kid smile so much and so bright and go through what she's going through. So that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Barr.
Spring cleanup has begun. Ask the motoring public to pay attention to our road crews that are out there. They'll be picking up some brush, leaves, and most importantly, we'll be starting some of our road projects. So for our road employees and our contractors that are out there that are conducting this business, drive cautiously and keep in mind that they'll be out on the roads. That's all I have to report.
Okay. Mr. Pearson.
Good evening, everyone. Just to tack on to what Hobie said about the 4th of July, I have been in touch with the County Sheriff's Office regarding the 4th of July and their support, and they're coming up to a Chiefs meeting here at Mormore Volunteer Fire Company the last Wednesday of the month, and to finalize those arrangements to make sure that we have adequate coverage, and the state police will be there too. So.
Yeah, Jake and Officer Schwartz already contacted me, and will be attending other meetings with us and working hand in hand with us this year again, so.
Good.
Greatly appreciated, that's for sure.
That's all I have, sir.
You wanted to bring up an update on the roads in Tuckahoe?
Yeah, Paul, I had some of the residents down there ask if we could have another public just a refresher meeting for them to let them know what's going on timeframe wise
Actually,
and those kinds of issues.
I mean, we can
I
get
think they
them,
want to set, NJDOT wants, is that an open public meeting, or what do they
It's
want to set up?
elected, it's an officials meeting.
An officials
Yeah,
meeting.
they'd just like to get some updates on where they are in timeframe wise and what perspective is for the summertime.
I mean, a couple of meetings ago, I gave the committee an update. They are looking to, you know, they're working diligently on some of the roadway work and drainage. They've had a lot of conflicts as they've been trying to install the drainage, so they're a little bit behind. They're hoping, you know, by, before, I'll say, the height of the summer season, the end of, the end of school, to have all the roadway work, try to have that completed by that time. But the bridge construction, will carry on for the next year.
I think they're more concerned with sidewalks, the curbing, the roads being torn up, and just to try to alleviate some of their fears of what they're going to go through this summer.
They're hoping for before the height of the summer, to have the roadway work done in the main part of Tuckahoe done.
Can we make sure we get that out there to the people down that way, or have a meeting for them, just if they want to ask questions, they can? Yeah, the fear of the unknown is what drives them nuts. So.
I don't know if the DOT was.
I mean, if we did, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. They asked for it, and I said I would relay the message.
Yeah, I mean, if the committee wants to hold a special meeting to discuss that with some of the residents and.
Well, they're asking for
Outside
a
of-
meeting sometime mid-month with, I guess, elected officials of here in Corbin City.
Yes.
So I think what we can do there is stress the fact that we want another public hearing, or not a hearing, public meeting, workshop to discuss, traffic issues and, what to expect when the summertime comes. So we can make that part of the agenda.
While we're on the subject of Tuckahoe too, it just reminded me that there is a road in Tuckahoe, it's a township-owned road, it's a dirt road, and it's referred to as the alley. I'm not sure if you know what road we're talking about.
Off of Mill Road and goes back to the parking lot behind the post office.
Yeah, that's not a public right of way.
No, it's a township, it's a dirt road by the township that we've maintained, my understanding, for years. As far as
That-
grading
That
it.
may be part of a private parcel. I believe it's part of the corner lot. It's actually a flag lot.
Yeah.
Unless it's been changed, but an application came to the, probably 20 years ago, to the zoning board that
I
created
was asked the
that.
same thing, if you could get it graded, so.
It's a
not our
private.
road.
It's
We're
not our
not gonna
road.
do
It's
it.
not our road, and obviously we can't.
That's it.
We got enough roads to repair.
We don't maintain it.
The road department has done it in the past, is what I was informed.
I think it was intended for access to that storage yard, I believe.
So that's,
We don't know.
Paul, later in the agenda, we're gonna be hiring some of the, beach ramp, boat ramp attendants and start doing some of the lifeguards and stuff for maintenance. Like, my question is down in Beasley's Point, do you know if we're gonna be able to get a regrade of that parking lot before the summer season starts?
Oh, yes, it's already been scheduled. We've been trying to, between this weather, trying to get some of those holes dried out and stuff like that, so they may have already started to do that, as far as trying to prep to get that graded. So that should be done within the next week or two.
Okay, and then we had some, I'd say, light parking issues that were able to be rectified. Can we reinforce that at very shortly, probably by May 1st, if not, people are gonna start using that ramp, so we're gonna make sure that we have ample parking for the people who are using the ramp.
I've already had the discussion with the contractor and the resident engineer for the parkway, and actually, the contractor or their employees have not been using that parking lot, because most of the work is up on the bridge. Most of their employees are parking on the bridge. There are some that, I'll say the parkway lot that's on the east side of the parkway, on their Cove Road, they are using some of that area, but even that is sparsely filled at this point in time during the construction.
Okay. And give us at least an update of where the dredge is. I know that they've sort of completed our project, but they're still dredging in the inlet. And how long do you anticipate them doing that? And, where are we at with that?
They still have, they'll still be dredging in the inlet, I believe. I think Seattle has about 10 to 14 days of pumping if good weather. They haven't, with all this weather that's been going around, they really haven't had a lot of days pumping the last week or week and a half. And then I believe they have 20 to 25 days to pump in southern end of Ocean City. So, but you're right, they've completed the Upper Township section, and they've actually made the full passes all the way from the ocean into the back of the inlet. So they've kind of opened up that inlet. And if you've actually been out there lately, you'll see that our north end of the park has grown right out to the edge of the dredge, to the point where the dredge is dredging in literally right along the bank of the high upland sand. So the inlet is really right up along the sand edge at this point.
Okay, I mean, I'm only asking because I think it sounds like it might go in to Memorial Day, potentially beyond that if the weather doesn't cooperate. And, we're gonna start seeing a lot of boaters out there, and, I mean, obviously they're at their own risk, but, I'm concerned there might be like sightseers, because this is the closest it's been, that people are usually out trying to get through the inlet as it is, so, just make everyone aware that they should probably be very cautious until that dredge is out of there. So.
Yes. And they put out, I think, daily or weekly Coast Guard Marine warnings, for their activity within the inlet and area.
Okay. All right, so with that, let's move on to the resolutions. Pick up at number 3.
Item number 3, honoring Jack Robert Hanley on attaining the designation of Eagle Scout.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 4, designating the first Thursday in May as a day of prayer in Upper Township.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And Barbara, are we thinking of having a little prayer service here as we usually do every year?
Yes. Yes, I'll reach out to the local pastors and make arrangements for that. Item number 5, confirming sale of certain land to wit, Block 330, lots 33 and 34, to Daniel J. Carter, Jr.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, is there anything we need to know about this?
It's pursuant to a resolution. He was adjacent property owner. It was at the value of the appraisal. It was sent out to any adjacent property owners. They could bid on it. So everything is in accordance with the ordinance. It'll be incorporated into his existing lot as one lot.
Okay, just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 6, authorizing the award of a contract with McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers for automotive parts and supplies.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, approving the application of the Tuckahoe Volunteer Fire Company for highway cooling drops.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 8, authorizing the filing of a recycling tonnage grant application.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, appointing McManaman Scotland and Bowman LLC to act as special counsel to the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution.
Second.
This is something we discussed at the last meeting. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, appointment of Judge Vincent J. Morrison and Judge F. Thomas Hildegrass to serve as temporary municipal judges on an as-needed basis.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, appointing Frank Garashini III to serve as an additional municipal prosecutor on an as-needed basis.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, appointing John Adams as Maintenance Worker 3, grounds to the Upper Township Department of Public Works.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 13, appointing Patricia Smythe and Rosemary Trout as passport acceptance agents for the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 14, appointing the 2016 season beach patrol personnel.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Yeah, I just want to give everybody a heads up. We started doing some preliminary work, so Captain Hanley and Lieutenant Tobias will be doing some work, and then as time goes on, we will be sending out letters of confirmation for the rest of the existing team to see if they're going to come back for this year. So, but these two guys are being hired now to get us started, so.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 15, appointing the 2016 season boat ramp attendants.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 16, 2016 revised temporary budget.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 17, amending the official organizational chart for the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 18, approving the draft countywide multi-jurisdictional all-hazard pre-disaster mitigation plan.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 19, authorizing a change order for the miscellaneous paving in the Upper Township contract resulting in an increase in the amount of $121,086.
Before you act on this, I think there needs to be some explanation and also some discussion. This item and the next item, 19 or 20, were necessitated by, according to the contractor and our engineer, unforeseen circumstances when they started to repave, started the project for repaving Township Hall. It was the underlayment. I'll defer to Paul on the specifics. They've been drafted after discussions with Barbara Spiegel and myself, and also our auditor. It's in accordance with the state statute. When you have an unforeseen circumstance, it doesn't change the project. It's still a paving project, and it would result in unreasonable inconvenience to the public. You have the right to do this, to change the contract without going through the public bidding process. It's my understanding Barbara Spiegel and Paul confirmed that it actually, they suspect that it actually would be more expensive if you publicly bid it, because as a separate project, it was part of a group project that we had, but as a separate project, there aren't economies of scale. And the prices, as I understand it, that are being provided by the contractor for the extra underlayment are consistent with all the recently bid other public projects that have been done. But with that introduction, and just so you know, item 20 is the funding for that. It will come out of the capital account. There's another way to do it, but I believe it would entail delay, and that is if you took it out of the bond, we'd have to amend the bond, and that would not finish the project quickly, and it also may impact the number, or the dollar amount that the contractor charges you, so it could be more expensive. With that introduction, Paul, could you maybe fill in some of the blanks in terms of the specifics?
Sure. As we got into removing the concrete base, as you see over on the west side of the parking lot, it became apparent as we were starting to open it up that the material that was installed underneath the concrete surfacing did not meet, what would normally be installed as a dense graded aggregate sub-base to paving or concrete base. It was not foreseen that that was going to be required because there were project planning specifications for this municipal parking lot, and typically plans are followed and constructed in accordance with the plans. It was the cracking that you see in the parking lot is not due to a substandard subsurface material, but it's really due to the narrowness and the lack of contraction joints in the concrete, and doesn't allow the concrete to expand and contract normally. So what happens is the concrete expands upon itself, cracks it, the water gets in the joints, freeze thaw, and then that's what causes the cracking and the deterioration of concrete, not the underlying unsuitable material. So now we have to look at removing that unsuitable material, which is between 12 and 14 inches thick, and replacing it with a good material. The cost for the removal of the material, the contractor's given us a price of $40 a cubic yard. That is the same price, the same contractor is doing the Route 50 bridge and road improvement projects in Tuckahoe for the State Department of Transportation. That is the same price that they provided the DOT for a similar quantity of removal. So, it was a publicly bid unit price, so it's within reason. The other item was to put back the good material. We had anticipated replacing a minor amount of dense graded aggregate, or the sub-base, as part of the project. So we already had a unit price for that. In talking with some of the committee, I did verify that unit price. I looked at the last paving project we did was Bayview Drive, the reconstruction of Bayview Drive in Strathmere. The unit price for that on a cubic yard basis was $54 a cubic yard. So there again, fairly close in unit price material. I also looked at the last, they didn't have a paving project, but the county had some drainage improvement projects, and based on an average of their bid prices, they had an average bid price of $56 per cubic yard for the dense graded aggregate. So there again, I think we can have some justification and some reliance that bid price is reasonable. I would note that our bid pricing, whenever you look at unit pricing, each contractor is going to have a different method to their madness to come up with what their unit pricing are. When you looked at the bid price summary for this current project, it happened that the overall low bidder on the contract at $254,275,000 for that one unit price happened to be the highest of their unit price. But when you looked at the other contractors, they put more money in some of their mobilization costs or different unit price items. So, it's hard to kind of, compare individual contractors' prices across the bid. When we look at other bids, it's better to look at what the average price is, because you get a better feel for that, because you're not quite sure what each individual bidder may have kind of scoped it out, or where they want to put their money in a bid.
Paul, as we go through this project, we've excavated or we've demolished, I'm going to say just from a visual estimate, probably 25 to 30% of the overall parking area.
It's actually between 30 and 45%.
Okay.
We're just under half.
Now with that, as we go through to the other side, is there a potential that this situation with the underlayment is going to get worse? Or could we actually find, as we proceed, that we may not have to remove as much material and we could get by with putting less down? With that in mind, is this $121,000 estimate enough to cover the entire area?
It's enough to cover the entire area. We calculated the square yards of the entire parking lot, and it's based on that entire square yards at an average of 12 to 14 inches in depth.
Well, part of the problem here is the groundwater, the subground, whatever part of it. We're gonna get that down and take care of that, so
I don't think it's a groundwater issue. I think it's a surface water issue where the surface water, the runoff is leaking through the joints in the existing concrete, and it's not allowing to permeate below the subgrade and get down into groundwater.
We are gonna
I mean,
do something.
it's a surface water issue, not a groundwater issue, but I do agree that we are.
it's hitting that stratus and it's not dissipating, it's just
Correct.
sitting there.
It's sitting there in that unsuitable material and just.
We're gonna make sure we do something drainage-wise while we're doing this to make sure we don't have a problem with that beyond this point.
It's probably going to be something we're going to come back and do, have our public works come back, where we can do it more cost effectively with our own contractor, our own public works as time goes on during
Yeah,
the
just wanna make sure
summertime.
we mitigate that problem before we put all this money into it,
Correct.
so we got a game plan.
The other thing I'm going to anticipate doing is having them, when they regrade the parking lot, where right now, I'll say we have a curb reveal of 6 inches. I'm going to probably have them decrease that curb reveal a little bit to get a little more slope on the pavement so that, the water gets off the pavement
We gotta
and
make
gets
sure
away
that
from
it's
the
up
building.
above the grass height
Mhm.
along that
Yes.
the highway.
Yes.
Right now, it's all sitting below that and it just gets trapped, so.
So what's the plan? The plan is to put the fill in and then asphalt the existing area that has been dug up at this point?
Well, this price for the $121,000 would be to continue on doing the entire parking lot, remove the soil, the unsuitable soil, put back in good soil, base pave it, and then, continue, we'll move the traffic from one side of the parking lot to the other and do the other half. And then they would come back like on a Saturday or something like that, or a day where it's, not as much traffic in here, and then surface asphalt the entire surface at one
They
time.
work the weekend, Saturday and Sunday on that, so we make sure that, if we get a good week.
The paving is a one day, it's barely one day of
Well, I
paving.
know that, but I mean, as far as the prep, if they get behind on it.
They'll be able to do it during, because we can stage it half and half, they'll be able to, coordinate it not on a court day and have that ready and available to have the parking lot, at least half the parking lot available for the public.
So in other words, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a period of time in which we're gonna have a dirt parking lot.
Yes, once they put suitable material, we'll be able to park on that,
It's not gonna be done in stages. You're gonna have one dirt parking lot now, right?
and then they'll.
The
and then
whole,
they'll
the
come
whole
in-
parking lot?
And then
whole
they'll come in
parking
and pave the whole thing at one time and get it paved over.
And we're making arrangements for court dates for traffic control out here with the parking, and I know we had it last Wednesday.
Correct. We'll have to do it for this Wednesday, but if we have, if the contractor has authorization, they'll be able to get in and have this side stabilized before the following court day, a week from this Wednesday.
Yes, I know with the storms we've been getting coming through, it's weather driven, so.
It'll take them one day to take out that material and another day to pave it, to base it back in there, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have somebody for traffic control out here, and I want to make sure we have some type of mitigation in mind to take care of that underneath water. So,
So the amount of time that the full parking lot will be a dirt parking lot is not gonna be more than 2 weeks, can we say?
Shouldn't be, as long as their schedule holds true and, they keep moving. I mean, that's what they had anticipated doing initially. They had anticipated being able to get it done in 1 week. So, obviously, taking out additional material is gonna slow them down a little bit, but, so a 2 week time period should be a reasonable time for them to be able to
and
get
they're
it
going to
done.
put some kind of crushed stone pack base underneath. So
Right, it'll be-
like
it'll-
parking on gravel.
Excuse me?
It won't be like parking on gravel out there, it'll be more of an
No.
aggregate base.
Correct. It'll be, they usually use a recycled asphalt, which, once it gets rolled and graded and it's essentially like asphalt.
So we're not going to have a mud hole for 2 weeks out there.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion?
If you're going to move forward, I would suggest you do them together because the one resolution is dependent upon the other. And if someone has a problem with it and it doesn't pass, we'd have to decide how we're going to modify those resolutions.
All right, well, if that's the case, then Barbara, would you mind giving us a briefing on the finance options for this?
There are two finance options. One is to take it out of a trust fund that we have, a trust account, I should say, reserved for capital projects. There is about $440,000 in that account that is for capital projects. That's one way. That's the resolution, the second resolution, resolution number 20 that authorizes that to come out of that account. The other option you would have would be to pay for it possibly out of the new bond. We introduced a bond ordinance at the last meeting. We anticipate adoption of that bond ordinance at the next meeting. We still have a 20-day estoppel period to go through, a protest period to go through for that ordinance. That money would be available towards the end of May if you chose to use money out of the new bond ordinance.
And that
There is-
obviously would create a practical problem with the unfinished parking lot. That's why this was proposed.
Now, I did speak to the contractor. If you chose that direction, they would be able to come in with the funds that we have currently available in the contract. They could start working on the removal of the consumable material in this half of the parking lot, get it put back in and paved, until that time frame, and then they would come back once the additional funds were available, and then they could do the other side. There would be, to do that, some additional mobilization costs. It's about $2,500 per mobilization per crew, so you're looking at between $5,000 and $7,500 in additional mobilization costs for them to bring the equipment in and back in.
Sure.
For the two different set of setups, as opposed to them coming in here and doing an operation with the equipment here. So you'd have to add approximately $7,500 to this price to cover additional mobilization costs if you wanted to wait to take it out of the bond.
So Paul, just to quantify correctly for the Township Committee, you're talking about a 6 to 7% cost increase and delay of a month and a half, 2 months.
If you were to wait for the bond funds.
Yeah. Correct.
So that quantifies it in a sentence for you.
And just so you're aware, there are funds in the bond, the introduced bond for road paving, and that would include also facilities and our playgrounds and all. You had designated that. So the funds are allocated in the new bond, if you so choose to pay for it that way.
Gentlemen, what's your pleasure here?
I'll make the motion that we follow the change order and approve the $121,086, as well as the amendment number 20, and take it out of our reserve capital fund so we don't have to delay this project anymore and get it going.
I'd second it.
Seems to be the best alternative.
I think it is too.
Well, if there's no further discussion, would you call the roll?
Miss-
That we're doing both resolutions?
Yes.
Both resolutions, yes. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 21, appointment of Frank L. Corrado Esquire to act as special legal counsel.
Move the resolution.
Just before you move this, just to give you a little bit of background, this appointment is for Mr. Corrado to assist the clerk on the recent complaint that was filed with respect to the election petitions. Because the Township Committee is my supervisor and I deal with each of the members on a daily basis with their departments, it's a conflict for me to rule on one of their direct self-interest matters. We have this problem occasionally. It comes up if there's a private matter that deals with the township, such as a tax appeal of one of the Township Committee members. Mr. Corrado has helped the township in conflicts in other areas in the past, and that's why he's being appointed through this resolution to do this.
You have a motion?
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Before you call the roll, I believe that because of this, the conflict of interest also, Mr. Coggins and Mr. Young should not vote.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Good point.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Abstain.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Abstain.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 3 in favor. Okay, item number 22, under new business, South Shore Stitchers requests the use of the Upper Township Community Center on October 22nd, 2016 for a quilt market.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay,
the
Mr.
roll.
Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Barbara, I could on this real quick, too. I was fortunate to get down this weekend to the,
I'm sorry, I
I
couldn't
was
hear.
fortunate to get down to the craft show this weekend down at the community center on Sunday,
Yes,
and they did a heck of a job on it this year. Really diverse, it was packed, you know, so it was
Yeah, so.
really nice affair.
very good.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated in the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There are a number of municipal department reports: Animal Control, Construction Office, MUA report, Municipal Court, Tax Collector, Municipal Clerk, and Finance. All of those reports will be available upon request tomorrow at the clerk's office, but I'd like to make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So at this time, we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. Anyone that would like to address the Township Committee is welcome to do so. Please walk forward to the podium, state your name and address because the meeting's being taped, and it's important that you state your name and your address. So, who would like to go first? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Ralph Cooper, 6 Gladden Drive. I'm going to talk about the Business Association, and I'd like to invite you all to our mixer we're having this Thursday night. It's at 5:30. It's going to be at PostNet, which is down in Seaville. We're having these once a month, and from time to time, the committeemen are able to come. I think it's a good chance for you to meet the business community, and wanted to share that with you. We're also having a shredding day on the 23rd. We've had some flyers around. There's one in the Township Hall. That's on Saturday, the 23rd. We've done this for 3 years now. We have a truck that comes and literally shreds the business community's articles that are a chance that might have some privacy
Confidential.
issues and so forth.
What-
We filled the truck.
What time is that?
That's on Saturday, the 23rd, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or until the truck is full. However that works.
And where will that be?
It's going to be at Foglio's Carpet in Marmora, Foglio's Flooring.
Okay.
We also wanted to thank you for passing the resolution we had earlier in the meeting about the reusable shopping bags. The Township Business Association and the Green Team has been running a campaign for the past 2 years called the BYO, Bring Your Own Bag program. And it's become somewhat of a model for other communities in the state now. And I think it's a nice tribute for our community. In speaking on behalf of the Green Team, same thing. We've been doing that BYO bag program together with the business community, and I think it's been very successful. We got a lot of good feedback at ShopRite this past weekend and down at Acme the weekend before that on Saturday. Both of these tabling events, as Paul mentioned earlier, allowed us to also give out information about our farmers market, which is now coming up in June. The first one will be June 17th. Again, we have flyers in Township Hall, and we have postcards, and these flyers we're giving out. The markets this year is going to be managed by Becky Holden. She did it last summer, and we also rely totally on volunteers. Everything that we do is a volunteer basis, so we're still trying to get volunteers to sign up for the farmers market. not only to help us now in the preparation and the planning, but also to help us on the day of the market. This year, the market is going to be in the same place it was last summer at Olmers Field, which is, the address is 2053 Route 9. Last year, we had to create the address because it's a field. And Olmers Field wasn't showing up in the GPS system. The time is going to be different this year. It's going to be 3:30 to 7. We talked to a lot of residents in the community and the vendors, and it seemed like that was a better mix for this township to allow people to stop on their way home from work and coming back from the beaches in the summertime. And we don't anticipate the traffic's going to be that much of an issue on that area on Friday night. So we're doing that. And the final thing is the Green Team is going to be participating in the Coast Guard Festival, which is going to be down at the Coast Guard base on May the 7th. We're going down on behalf of our Green Team, and we're also going to be tabling for what we call our Sustainable Jersey Hub, which is the Green Teams in Atlantic County and Cape May County. So I think that's something else we thought was because of a lot of our residents either are in the Coast Guard or retired from the Coast Guard, and this is the county observance of the Coast Guard. We wanted to go down there for the Green Team and help support that.
Speaking of that, I think at least 4 or 5 of us, we were down there last year, and it's quite a really interesting event. I think we were all in all as the Coast Guard helicopters did a flyby, and they did a presentation of arms and stuff, and it was quite an event. We were very impressed. So if you haven't had a chance to go to see it, I would recommend you see it. It's very impressive.
Good. Okay. Any questions of me?
Now, if we could extend an invite to the Business Association to our meetings for the 4th of July, because we would like to get them involved.
We've tried to come to those, and we will continue to come as we can in the
Okay.
future, both as the Green Team and also the business community.
Please do.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi everyone, Camille Saylor, 16 Prestwick Lane, Seaville. There was an advertised tree giveaway for Saturday, similar to other municipalities that did it successfully. 50 people at least, from what I've heard, were wandering around aimlessly in their cars or on foot looking for the trees that weren't there.
At Amanda's Field?
We were
Yes.
there. We gave away probably to 30 residents.
Where were they? Because
At the concession stand.
And we were there, I was there by 11:30, 12 o'clock, and we were directing them back there. I wasn't involved in the tree giveaway, but we were there prepping for our game.
because I must have received
We didn't have any
15 emails.
signage was the problem. There's no signage directing them back. But with that rain we had and the snow we had, it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think.
Because you missed out then on giving another 50 trees away. So maybe next time have signs or somehow
We
get
weren't- we
people
weren't
to the
expecting-
right area.
We weren't expecting 3 inches of snow, sleet, and hail during the
Oh,
period of time,
yeah.
so it didn't
Or
quite.
maybe bring it closer to the road.
There again, with 3 inches of snow.
No,
sleet,
but
and
I
hail, it
think,
wasn't
I think
something
your
we
point is
did.
well taken. You know, in the future, we'll move it closer so it's a more available area for people
Right,
to
I
take
mean,
advantage of.
the premise is to give the trees away, and if
Right.
you only gave 30 away, I'm sure you were left with a lot of trees.
No, we gave trees away to 30 residents. We were giving 5 to 8 trees away to each resident. I do have some still available, so
Okay.
if you want to give me a call tomorrow, we still have some available.
Okay, great, thanks.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name's Russ Moreno. I live at 5 Red Oak Drive. You have to excuse me, I'm not as prepared as I really wanted to be today because I got involved in some stuff this afternoon. I haven't been coming to these meetings for a while, but thanks to your videotaping, I've been able to catch up a little bit. One of the things I'm concerned about is I know you're gonna have a budget approval meeting, I don't know the exact date, next month or something.
No, 2 weeks from
I know,
tonight.
usually what happens at that given time, you'll present the budget, and no matter what is said here, it's usually disregarded anyway, nothing seems to change, at least at any meeting I saw. Not once ever see something say, hey, let's remove that now before we vote. And the same thing happens at the school board, so you're not unique in that fact. But what I'd like to say is this. I noticed for the last couple of years now, if you all know really, is that Social Security people haven't gotten any increase because they said the cost of living didn't go up. And yet it seems that pay raises and so on and so forth here in the school board, they keep coming. And I know the township workers didn't get one last year, but school board got one for the last 3 or 4 for the full 2%. Now, it was my understanding when this 2% cap came into effect, it was to maintain and try and hold down taxes. But what we do to circumvent that is we create bonds. So we'll go here, and we'll go to 1.9 or whatever, and then now we need some stuff, so we're gonna create a bond and sell this bond for 3 million, 2 million, whatever. Even if we already have one in play, so we're gonna do another. In essence, what we're really doing is like if I took money out of my wallet, I paid for gas here, and now I go and use my credit card and pay for other stuff, food or whatever here, but what happens next month, I have to pay for that food and stuff. It just catches on. So when your budget comes next year, now you gotta deduct your payments for this bond that you created this year and the one before. So sooner or later, it's like a dog chasing a tail. But how it affects us is we don't get these same factors that get bonds. You can't just keep mortgaging our houses and stuff, because in fact that's what it's doing. But what I want to just bring out is what's happening in Atlantic City is definitely affecting this area, from what I can see. A lot of houses for sale, a lot of foreclosures, because a lot of those people that work there, especially management ones, chefs and what have you, lived in this town. And as those places close down, it affects here. People can only afford so much. We all want our kids to have the best of everything, but then again, you can't always have everything you want. I know when I grew up, if a town or something couldn't afford it, that's it. You don't get it. Now we love to give our kids, I know mine had more than any that I had, and a lot of people I talk the same thing. But the fact being is this, many of us are on budgets, especially those with kids. In today's world, families have to have both husband and wife working. In my younger days, that didn't happen. Mom was home. Mom cooked, mom did everything. Dad was the one that went to work most of the time. But new world. So now you have a household, and a lot of times what happens too is that the kids decide to play on the computers instead of playing outside sometimes, which gets me to the recreation. I noticed here, what I did today is I pulled the last 3 months' bills. And what I find out is just this month alone, you guys all just approved $312,000 worth of bills. A lot of money. Little town, we spend an awful lot of money. We spend all this money for these kids and stuff, and I wonder, how far do we go? I mean, I can see a little bit at a time. Amanda's Field, money just keeps pouring into there. I just don't see how it's ever going to stop. You know, we just went ahead now. We did the older well, grading and so on and so forth. I just hope we get our money. We shut down the fields next to my house, by Oak Forest, and these are over here. But the other thing that happens that I look at is the vehicles. We go ahead and we bought some garbage trucks, nice big super garbage trucks, and these big side loaders have 10 wheels on them. 10 wheels, 10 tires. And what I can gather out of this mess is the 10 tires are very expensive tires. They're not small, and it seems that they must wear kind of quick, because we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on tires. What is it? Is it the weight of the trucks? Is it the roads? And then on top of that, now we take the weight of that truck on the roads. Can the roads really handle it? Now I see you guys are buying a couple more trucks that load from the back. Why? We just spent thousands, millions of dollars on trucks and cans and what else. Sooner or later, we've got to get organized. I mean, you say you can stretch the budget down. Well, not really. When you're still hiring and stuff, it's got to be, you've got to cut down the cost to do something somewhere. We can't continue with this. I'd like to stay and live in my house a little bit longer, but the way you're going, you're forcing me out. and it's not right. I worked a long time, my whole life, I lived here for over 25 years, I should be able to stay there. I also look in this thing here, and I see a bill for Atlantic Investigations. Who are they? What is it?
They take care of ensuring that our drivers are safe to be on the highway.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
They provide information and services to the township for compliance with CDL drivers, with OSHA regulations, and, you know, various things that need to be done. For example, when we have to do our federally mandated drug testing, they have a program in place for that, which we are following with our employees. They handle the drug testing. In the event, heaven forbid, that we would have a severe accident, what they do is they get involved in the accident investigation, the accident mitigation. That's what they handle. They handle safety for the commercial vehicles that are on the road as well.
It's safety for our employees, and it's safety for the residents that they're serving.
They do a lot of training for the employees as well.
And at least, you know, I can understand what you're saying here. You have another company doing this because nobody within the township itself is trained to do that.
Well, it involves, you know,
Sorry?
urine tests. There's a lot of lab tests that are involved with this that we wouldn't have the ability to do.
I know, it's a new world. Years ago, you didn't go that deep. You know? Now it's... The other question I have is Fridays with Friends. What is that?
That's a program through the school that's paid for through the Municipal Alliance grant.
It's a grant
The
that we share with Ocean City and Upper Township are partners in. And we get a grant and it allows for activities after school, after hours. They do a roller skating party, they do Friends on a Friday, you know, things that would occupy kids. And it also educates kids, you know, to things like the abuse of prescription drugs and those kind of things.
Through a grant, you said?
Through a grant.
Yes.
No problem. Even though grants, and another way, are still our money, but I had one more question, I'm sorry. Oh, insurance for the men's softball. The township pays for that? What is that about?
We pay for all of our sports. We offer sports. We have to pay insurance. The township will be liable if someone got hurt going around the bases or something. You know, it's important. If we offer the activities, we have to insure them. We insure virtually every sport that we offer. And men's softball is one of the sports that have been here for, 50 years. I mean, I played softball here 30 years ago when I first came here.
I know you have some teams that come from out of town, and before they can use a field or something, they have to supply insurance. I gather it's out of a different basket here.
It's different. The ones that come from outside are not township-run programs.
Right.
They're using our field as an outside entity and have to produce insurance.
And that's my confusion, and that's what I want to see when I look at it. Like I said, you know, I pulled 3 months of these things, and you look through them, and they're not really, they're basic to what they tell you they're all about. But, you know, the bottom line of all of this is that you have to understand the feeling of the people in town. In my neighborhood, around my end, there's a lot of senior citizens there, and we're all concerned of what's going on. Every year doesn't have to be 2% in the max. And every year we have to control it somewhere. You know, as far as these trucks, the other thing I look at, there's thousands and thousands of dollars that you guys, our town spends for repair and maintenance of these vehicles. Who's driving them? What is breaking? Is anybody keeping a record of it? You have your trucks charted, like every truck with a number, and every repair that's on it. Do we see if it's the same driver driving that truck to investigate why we're spending this kind of money? Thousands of dollars.
The repairs are a little bit broad-based, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult to follow when you're looking at the billing statement. Some of the repairs that we're doing are by contract to county vehicles, and we're being reimbursed for that. The average cost of maintaining a commercial truck, a trash truck, an automated side load truck is anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Now, in order to mitigate some of that cost, some of the things that we're finding on some of our older collection vehicles, some of the older rear load vehicles that, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do away with, because we do offer bulk collection services, we offer brush collection, we offer leaf collection. A rear load truck is the best way to handle those things. Those trucks that we currently have in service are costing us considerably more than that. And that's one of the reasons that we have to move away from these older trucks and get into upgrading the fleet a little bit. Now, in upgrading the fleet, one of the things that we've done to help mitigate those costs is that we've gotten with Public Works, we have reviewed specifications that other towns have used, and we are going to capitalize on the fact that there are some late model, second-hand trucks available that we can buy for a lot less than the going market price of a similar vehicle. It's also one of your concerns was the weight. It's also a lighter weight truck that we're going to specify, which is a 52,000 pound truck as opposed to an 80,000 pound truck. So those are some of the things that we're looking at to try to keep the costs down. Now, by specifying that lower weight truck, what we've done is we've been able to take a look at the payloads that these trucks have back and forth to the landfill. And if you look at the average payload, it's well within that specification. These trucks are all traveling fairly light.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned, I know that you do the county's trucks, work on them, but even without them, I separated them out here because it tells us here which ones were the county jobs. Even without those, there's still a lot of money spent. I just have to wonder, I remember the company I used to work for, if we kept seeing a bill keep coming in, the same truck or something, saying something isn't right, somebody isn't driving right, somebody's abusing this. The other thing I look at here, you just bought these side loaders, what, a year ago? And now you buy these other ones. So now what's gonna happen, when we come around in another 4, 5, 6 years, all of a sudden we're gonna come up with a big bill all at once, instead of like each year by one, spread them out. But somebody in a few years is gonna get hit again, and whoever on this council is gonna say, well, it's the other guy's day.
Well, ironically, it's been 3 years since we purchased the automated trash trucks. I mean, it's kind of gone very quickly. It seems like it hasn't been here that long, but it's actually been 3 years, and that's really what we're doing, what you suggested. We're trying to stagger purchases so that we're not always hit with a large amount. And really, one of the issues that we had in the past, the committee was trying to be very frugal, and we were really nursing some vehicles that probably should have been replaced, before what they are now. And so we are looking at staggering. And so when we bought 2 automated trucks 3 years ago, the ones that we're buying or plan to buy, and they're not new, as Mr. Coggin said, we're looking at leased agreement ones that have run out and they're maybe 1 or 2 years old that we can utilize and buy them at a more reasonable price. We need those rear end loaders to do some of the other services that it's not practical with the automated system. The automated system has become very efficient. We're down to 1 driver instead of 3 on those trash trucks. So that's saving money. But we can't just stay complacent where we are, because the equipment is being used, the services are being provided, and some things have to be replaced. We really try and do the best we can to stagger it so that the costs don't always come in. In fact, you earlier had talked about an existing bond, and now we're doing another bond. One of the reasons why we're doing is one of the bonds we're paying off. So we're trying to do it that way as well. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation 3 or 4 or 5 years down the line where we have an excessive amount of debt that we have. That's what we're trying to do. This is a process that we're not doing just for this year, but a process that we're putting 5 and sometimes 10-year plans in effect.
What concerns me is, I remember when I first moved here, most of the things this township bought, they paid up front. There were no bonds on it.
We were also getting double the amount of money we're getting from the energy receipt tax. Things have changed. We're, believe it or not, still entitled to getting close to over $11 million in energy receipt tax. but because of budget constraints by the state, they have, encumbered that money, and we're getting 6.4 million. So yes, when I first came on the township committee, we were paying for everything. But you also have to realize that you can't look at 20 years ago, because in 20 years, the population of the township has increased too. So there's more homes to service, there's more businesses to service, there's a lot more things that we're involved with as well. So we're trying to keep up with the lack of funds that we're not getting, that we're supposed to get from the energy receipt tax, and also keep up with, growing demand of services based on a higher population.
I can definitely understand that, and I realize it didn't change that much. All I'm trying to really get down to, the whole point is, we can't keep going this way. You have to somewhere, somehow, really take a real good look at your employer base, what's going on, where the money is really going. Now, you all agree to say, okay, let's pay these bills. How many of you really always looked at it, each other? How many times did anybody make a call, say, hey, what's this for? Does that happen? Do everybody who
I'll stop in the middle of a meeting and I'll ask Barbara, what am I signing this for? I look at it all the time.
I just did it on three things tonight.
I see something like you said, the Friday thing on mine, because that's usually what I sign, and I just tell me what this is. I don't, I question it more than you think.
Yeah, Russell, you gotta remember too, manpower-wise, I've been on for 2.5 years now, but we're down 8 employees just since I've been here. I mean, Recreation used to have 12 full-time employees, and now we're doing it with, 4 or 5? So in order to cut the manpower down, we also have to get better equipment, because you can't do it both ways. So, in the long run, we're saving because we're not having the benefit packages, the pensions and everything. But
we in Upper Township are kind of very fortunate. I look at other towns that are in deep trouble. All right, you talk about manpower, they're down to nothing. You talk about vehicles, and we try to borrow.
Sure.
So we are very fortunate. But the thing is don't stick your head out too far and think I'm safe. But we're not that safe. What would happen if that electric plant says no more? If they go to Trenton and they're fighting it now just for a gas line, and they go far enough and say, take it out of here. Where are we gonna sit then?
And that's one reason we're trying to do as much as we can with grants, just like Amanda's Field, 220,000 of Amanda's Field.
What you may not realize is that 8 years ago, that was a reality. They were ready to shut it down, and this township sued them to prevent it from happening, and we forced them to rebid that, the plant sale, and that's how Rockland Capital got involved with it. Dan and I was on the township committee as mayor, and Dan and I fought vehemently to prevent the closure of that at the time, because it would have been devastating ultimately to the township. And that's why you see this township committee working very hard to support that pipeline, so that plant can continue to stay there, because it certainly will go a long way to the existence in the future of Upper Township.
I have to say thank you to Dan and yourself and whoever was involved in saying that. As far as the gas pipeline, it's not just for that plant. To me, it's backup. We only have, one major lead into town here, but if that main pipe goes, we have nothing left.
The whole county. It's only one lead for the whole
That's
county.
a whole nother apple over there. One more thing that you just hit on is legal. We spend tons of money on legal fees. What the heck are we doing?
Well, what we're doing is following, we're following the state statutes, we're following the regulations. And by the way, we have been very successful in not having settlements that you see a lot of other towns do, because we take it very seriously. We follow the rules, and we expect everyone that works here to follow the rules. And, at times we go to outside counsel for things such as defending a lawsuit against BL England plant, or needing an outside attorney that has a specialization in beach replenishment. Sometimes, you lose sight that when we fought the de-annexation of Strathmere, we had to bring in an expert. Dan was representing the township committee, and the township, we needed an expert to come in to help us get through all in fact, Dan actually was the one that actually came forward and did most of the work anyway. But you know, some of that, we go and rely on experts, and we rely on Dan's suggestion on people that we should use on the outside. So at times, maybe our legal fees may look like they're a little bit high, but on the back end, that's all we're paying. We're not paying settlements, we're not paying issues. We have been very, very strict that way, and have done, and been very successful with that.
All right, taking up enough of your time, I appreciate it. I'll see you again.
I thought it was a debate between you and I. No, just kidding.
Mr. Mayor, you just gotta understand.
I'm just kidding you. I appreciate,
But look at that too, you know?
I appreciate all your comments, right, because you do your homework, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Believe Russ, I'm retired now too, so I'm right with you as far as living on a fixed income. So,
Who else would like to address the Township Committee?
Natalie Meese, 759 Route 50, Lewisburg. If we were just talking about legal fees, I'm curious, what were the legal fees that were paid to Dan Young? I mean, it's more listed. What was paid to Dan Young? this
For
month?
what?
The
There's different
legal fees
items.
and the bills, payment of bills.
There are different items, but I'd have to look it up. I mean, I don't have the bills in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're asking a question that we would have to research.
I don't have numbers committed to, there's a monthly retainer, there's a litigation bill, there's a general, legal advice bill. All of those have different things. Those details you can get from Barbara. Every month they come in and I send them to her and she puts them on the bill list. There's also bills for beach replenishment and condemnations that are still outstanding. So they're the four categories that generally are billed each month. Now, do also bond counsel bills, okay? You saw the McMahon firm, that was one of the resolutions today. When we do bonding, it's a specialized field, and they do that. There could be a bill, for example, there'll be a bill with respect to the complaint on the petitions, which from the outside counsel, because that's a conflict for me to do that. So there are various different types of bills that come in, but my bills are generally those four categories, and they come in depending on how much work is done each month. The retainer is specific. That's to cover any questions that the people in the township might have, the workers in the township, in lieu of billing them hourly, and also to attend the meetings. For example, I don't bill for this meeting. I don't bill for reviewing regular correspondence from the township. That's a monthly retainer. I'm not sure, $2,600 a month.
Yes.
That one I know. The others depend upon how much work is involved and what happens in those matters.
Okay, but for this month, wasn't he paid over $17,000? And 2,600 of it was the retainer?
That could be accurate. I don't know.
it depends on the workload, Nat.
You've got affordable housing going on right now too, which is,
There are a lot of requirements and statutes that Dan guides us through. And, you know, all I can tell you is the one thing that this township holds our head very highly with, we don't get cited for non-compliance, and there's a reason for that. We have a very good attorney that helps us get through the issues.
But you carry insurance.
It has nothing to do with that. It's still, we have to follow the rules.
Have to have a
We
lawyer.
cover, and most of our insurance is more for disability and liability and things of that nature, not following, you know, we are involved with a lot of compliance issues that we need guidance on.
Okay. I wanted to ask if you have any correspondence and what is the status on the South Jersey Upper Township gas, the South Jersey gas and the Upper Township interconnect station in Tuckahoe.
Well, I mean, right now, there's an appeal that's going on based on the BPU ruling, and I believe the Pinelands executive ruling. And that's pretty much where the concentration has been from, you know, the gas company and, you know, the individuals involved on the outside. So things have sort of quieted down on our end until they rectify or, you know, put closure to those issues. you know what, I can't predict how they work through the court system or how the settlements go. I mean, you know, we have been getting updates occasionally from South Jersey Gas and, you know, where they, you know, are, you know, but they, you know, it's really not up to a decision, it's out of our hands, we're not involved with that at all. I mean, we're not paying for anything to support it or anything like that, so.
But it's still gonna go through, there's still gonna be an interconnect station.
We hope so, but I can't give you that guarantee until we find out what is ruled in the courts. I hope so anyway, for the township's sake.
Will there be, another resolution with regard to that, interconnect station? I'm not really sure what happened, because I believe early on we had some kind of a resolution, and, I think it was up in the air whether they leased the ground or they purchased the ground, and about the deed, who researches the deed.
Stanley, do you want to answer that?
As far as I know, the last discussions, and it's been a while, the South Jersey Gas had identified as that part of their plan. There was some more information that they had to get, had nothing to do with title to the property or the deed. But they just weren't at the stage they were going to make a formal request for the easement from the township. But it is part of their plan. The township has not granted that easement yet either. It requires an ordinance. So that has not happened. Probably, I'm guessing, the reason we haven't been approached by the gas company is because of the fact that they're fighting these other legal battles.
Okay, so there won't be a resolution, but there could be an ordinance.
It's not a resolution, it's an ordinance, because we would be giving them a legal right in the land to connect to their other legal rights to do the line.
Okay, and then in the past, wasn't there, didn't Upper Township make a resolution with regard?
There have been general resolutions to support the project by the township committee, that they're in support of that project. As far as that specific easement area, no. There was some discussion about it at various meetings over the last few years, but there's been no formal action taken.
Okay, can you say anything about if this comes about, like what's gonna happen? Because in my mind, there's about 10 houses that are gonna be affected there with regard to the buffering and the safety, since the BPU has taken this out of the...
If the township is approached as this progresses and a request is made for the ordinance will be introduced if the township committee feels that's appropriate, and then it'll be published, and then there'll be a public hearing, and after the public hearing, we'll either vote to adopt it, amend it, or not adopt it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing no other individuals asking to address the Township Committee, I'll close the public portion and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act: contract negotiation for a collective bargaining agreement, litigation on affordable housing, Lloyd versus Upper Township, and Upper Township versus Yankin Sansone, and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public.
Second. Call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
I'd like to thank you all for attending this evening. Please drive safely home and have a fantastic week.